So I recently had a conversation with Juggle Guy that went a little like this.
So I know you're opposed to the whole floating players thing, and I want to ask you about that. Why are you opposed to it?
I'm only opposed if there's not an official ranking or circuit involved.
Okay.
'Cause then it's just not fair to the competition.
So how do you think we should do the official ranking?
There's got to be a circuit. You got to have rules in place, like who gets to skip, who doesn't get to skip. What's the cutoff?
So you're saying there needs to be official tournaments for the ranking?
There needs to be a circuit with points that that determine where
Like they did for MLG?
you skip.
Like MLG?
Like Apex.
Yeah, like MLG, except hopefully done better than MLG.
That, plus Leffen's recent tweet, plus Thug's super sick article on MIOM, made me realize it might be time to talk about this. This issue actually comes in the form of two distinct but related issues. Many top Melee players are calling for tournament organizers to place top players in further rounds of tournaments automatically. Leffen said that it would be necessary to prevent burnout, and Hungrybox went on to explain that tournaments are much more difficult for top players, involving swarms of fans, interviews, and trying to play well in the midst of all of this. On the other hand, it has also been pointed out that this is unfair to the lower level players. FGC guys are saying that we need to man up, and that playing for long tournaments is part of what makes being a top player difficult. Then the problem comes up of how do we even define who is a top player, as in, who gets to get floated out of pools? The solution many have suggested is a centralized ranking system. Most esports have this, we see League and Counter-Strike's ELO system, among others. The community consensus is that if we're to grow as an esport, we need a centralized ranking system. The need is obvious, but the implementation is difficult. The thing that makes Melee different, and what draws many people to it, is the requirement to play in person. This lends itself well to a strong sense of community, but makes devising a ranking system incredibly difficult. I would try to explain this, but Thugs did it so well that anything I say will either be confusing, incorrect, or a rephrasing of his article. So if you want to know more about this, go read his article. It's linked in the description, and I'll put a link on the screen now. Also, huge shoutouts to Thugs. Michigan, represent. National and international tournaments can be grueling, lasting something like 14 hours on day one. While some may argue that part of the competition is staying focused for that long, Tafo makes a good point, saying, where does it end? When does competition stop being about who's the best Melee player and start being about who can still put up a fight after staying awake without food for the longest?
Imagine where does that line draw then? It's do we have people fast and have sleepless nights to see who has the true mental stamina? They have to stay up 48 hours straight and then play a set and see who can do the best. I think it's kind of a silly metric to say who can survive the 14-hour marathon and still perform well.
In addition to the longer days for top players compared to low-level players, they're also expected to engage with fans, do crew battles or exhibitions, and whatever else the TO might want them to do. Compare that to the experience of your average player who goes to their pool, goes 0-2 or 1-2, and then gets the rest of the tournament to do whatever they want. The main argument I see against floating players is that it is unfair, which it is. A very common point is that seeding is a prediction, while floating players makes that prediction a reality. The only way for floating to be fair is if it is based on an objective point system or rank. I previously mentioned the ELO system, but it has its flaws. The reason esports with this system, like League of Legends, don't see the problems with it is that their ranking system is not what decides their tournaments. At the top level, it doesn't matter if you're number 1 in NA or number 50 in NA because you're already on a team, and the seeding structure for LCS is much different than, okay, let's total up the ELO of each team and seed it that way. Most people agree that floating would be okay if it was completely objective, but that system isn't here yet. That's why I'm super hyped for Thugs' implementation. Nothing has been announced yet, but his article expresses his deep understanding of the issue and his qualifications to find a solution. What do you think? Will net play count for the official ranking? Will we have regional rankings like League of Legends? Will only tournaments with enough players of certain rank count? I'd love to hear from you in the comments, as long as you keep it civil. If you like this video, leave a like, and if you want to see more, subscribe. I'm Bandit, this is Sunset Smash, and I hope you have a good one.